Welcome to the second part of my review for Call of Duty 2. This is the multiplayer review. Make sure you watch the single player review first. If you've watched the single player review, as you can tell, Call of Duty 2, even just the single player portion, is an absolutely outstanding game. Definitely worth your money and time. But what'll keep you coming back to the game is most definitely the multiplayer. And multiplayer will never end, and this is definitely worth what you're going to be paying for. To begin off, multiplayer, it's usually small maps consistent of capture the flag, team deathmatch, and objective-style gameplay like search and destroy, and a new mode called headquarters. I'll explain later. Once again, you play as the 4 different armies, because you can now play as the Germans. Gameplay is a lot like just standard Call of Duty. It's very run and gun, very fast pace, and just a lot of fun. The graphics come back, and they once again look absolutely outstanding. It's a sensation of a game, really lifelike, and for the first couple of times of playing, it'll look simply outstanding. The game is very well balanced. There's usually no overpowering weapons, but there sometimes are. But usually you have something to contradict that. Keeps the game in balance and in a steady pace, makes this game addictive, once again, and immersive. The new game types, such as Search and Destroy and Headquarters, are much more tactical than the run and gun. Search and Destroy is a lot like Counter-Strike, where you have to plant a bomb on usually a cannon or a tank, and the other team's got to defuse it. If you get killed, you don't respawn till the end of the round. Headquarters consists of one team setting up a radio headquarters and the other team trying to destroy it. One team can get shot and you can't respawn. The other team has a certain amount of reinforcements, and there's a time limit. If one team can keep the radio up long enough, that team wins. With the new game modes put aside, the actual gameplay is very well balanced, and like I said, it'll keep you coming back for more. It's just so action-packed. You can either find a server with a lot of people, and it's a lot like Quake or Unreal Tournament, or you can find a server with less people, and if you're looking for the more tactical side. Once again, all the weapons are very realistic, and very much so to their real-life counterparts, and also a handful of new weapons have been added into the multiplayer, such as the Grease Gun and the PPSH-42 that were not included in the single player. When your teammates die, there will be a little death icon above their body, which will give you a bit of an advantage over the enemy, but it's kind of nice, so you can't just have one camper picking you off. Kind of gives you an idea where they're shooting from. You really can't even camp in this game that long, because it's just such a fast pace. Camping really won't get you anywhere. There are plenty of different servers. They can go up to about, I think, about 42 players right now. They usually are just big frag fests, and everyone's running around. Servers can be rifles only or machine guns only, depending on what the server sets it to. So you'll get a nice taste of what the game has to offer, and it'll bring every single player a bit of challenge. If you've played Call of Duty United Offensive, you know in United Offensive there are vehicles. Sadly, in the multiplayer there are none, but if you were going to have vehicles, I would be concerned that there would be balancing issues in the game. Luckily, there aren't that many in the multiplayer, and you can have a very fun time playing this. The overall interface of how the multiplayer works is very user-friendly. It's easy to select teams and your weapons. There's not really a selection of spawn points. You just get set off into the game. There's also an interesting feature called Killcam. They probably have this in different games, but when you get killed on certain servers, it'll show the last few seconds of what your enemy saw right before he killed you, so you'll be able to know how you got killed. Some servers shut this off because this is usually for the relatively newer players. On the whole, Call of Duty is just an amazing game both ways, single player and multiplayer. But eventually you will get done with the single player and you can hop over to multiplayer or vice versa. The game will bring you an endless amount of fun and entertainment, and it's definitely worth your time and money. But before you actually purchase the game, I gotta let you know that I'm playing this on Windows Vista Home Premium. There are quite a few issues with security and lag, mainly trying to join certain Punkbuster servers. It'll kick you out of the game from time to time. I found this very annoying, but it really doesn't affect the gameplay. If you set up the game correctly using the administrator to play it, and it really doesn't affect the gameplay, but it became very annoying, so watch out if you're buying this if you have any compatibility issues that might become a problem. Also on Vista, and I cannot say this for XP, the game lags quite a bit from time to time depending on how many players there are. Once again, this really will not affect the gameplay that much, but it may become very frustrating at times, and it will just seem unfair from time to time. But luckily, this isn't too often, and it only happens on relatively bad servers like the Afternooners. If you're playing a dedicated server, you're guaranteed to have a fun time, and the single player is definitely worth it. Now for the score, because this is 2 separate reviews, I'm going to do a point score out of 20. So Call of Duty 2, single player and multiplayer combined, gets a total score of 18 out of 20. That's a high benchmark for many World War II first-person shooters to set.